I mean, it's very embarrassing to watch that scene because it is so clear I'm not an actor. I'm just a very, very proud author. Like, I'm just beaming.
Like, they're worth quite a lot of money because they're these custom-made works of art. So every time I'm suddenly kind of like, I'm feeling the insurance flip from my hand, and then kind of worrying if my paycheck is going to disappear when I have to reimburse production.
Oh my God, Leigh, and remember, like, Jessie's first audition that we saw immediately when she went through the scene, we're like, that's Alina Starkov. And then you do a little slate at the end, and that was just full Jessie. And then everyone was like, and that's the Sun Summoner, because she was so joyful, and there was just effervescence about her. And we were like, we're good. All right. Next one. Hi, I'm Eric Heisserer. I'm the showrunner of Netflix's Shadow and Bone, and you're watching Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table. Well, I'll go in the order that I see everybody's faces here. So the first is Ben Barnes, who plays General Kerrigan, also known as the Darkling. And then we have Kit Young, who plays Jesper Fahey. Amita Suman, who plays Inesh Gaffa. We have, who's this guy? I don't know who this, he's got into the feed wrong. We have Carter, his Kaz Brecker.
Broke my way in.
Leigh Bardugo, who plays Grisha number 3.
Yes.
And also the author of the books. We have Jessie Mei Li as Alina Starkov, and Archie Renaux as Malyan Oritsif.
Woo!
Yeah.
I can't believe Grisha number 3 is here.
Trying to contain your excitement.
Was that actually what your name was on the call sheet?
I don't actually know. I don't think they even gave me a name. I don't think I even got. I mean, it's very embarrassing to watch that scene because it is so clear I'm not an actor. I'm just a very, very proud author. Like, I'm just beaming.
Don't believe it.
But that comes through. That comes through.
Literally me just being like, Jessie,
yeah, it is beautiful.
I love you.
I know.
Tell me what happened in the fold. What saved you?
You won't believe me, but it was a sun summoner.
Is this true? Can you summon light?
When I choose an adaptation, my love for the material has to really exceed my love for my own original ideas, and that doesn't happen very often. But I had that in the case here with Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse. And I had the opportunity to meet with Netflix about this and discovered that they had the rights to the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but not to Six of Crows. And I was full of swagger on that day, and I said, well, I'm not going to do this unless you have both, and walked out the door. And thankfully, that worked out in my favor, even though I got fired from another gig. I did manage to come back when Netflix had acquired the rights to that, as well as one of these other collection of stories that contains some good material for the show.
Eric, I did not know that you were such a badass. Like, I did not, like, you played it very cool when we first met. Like, when we first met to talk about this, he really presented it as like, oh, what would you think if we brought together Six of Crows? You didn't, like, say, I'm doing this or I'm out. And I thought it was a splendid idea, but I also had no idea how he was going to pull it off. So I'm very impressed with the way that you
What excited me about it was that after reading these books, these characters in this world sort of lived rent-free in my head for so long. Being the showrunner of this was my revenge. I got to live in their world for a while. I got to sit at their Pro Club table. I got to land on a sand skiff. And that was highly rewarding, but also highly challenging. When you take on a second world fantasy show, everything is bespoke. Everything is made from the ground up, so that if you're in the middle of the Crow Club and you drop a Hoyle deck on the table, it stands out like a sore thumb. So you know you have to create everything from languages and currency, from numeral systems, from suits of cards. That was probably more audacious than I should have, because I spent a weekend with the art department going, why did I do this?
Amazing for us, isn't it? Like, for us as the cast, everything's so, like, all these things we can actually interact with and completely just paint this world. I remember going to the Crow Club just to visit, you three on set, and there was all these bottles and behind the bar that you never really see close up, with all these labels. You had like Rav Kowalski and like Kirch. It was just it helps us as actors to really get into it when everything looks real.
Well, yeah, there's times when you're doing it in the scene, because you're trying to be in the moment and stuff, you're like, oh, this is how it is. You just sort of take it for granted. But then once you step outside of that and you're like, the attention to detail is like, it goes above and beyond. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Please, drinks here. Drinks all round here, please. Hey, you take Zimby coin, yes?
Let me see that.
The Lucky 9 casino at the block has had trouble with counterfeit coin lately. Heavy, but brittle.
Oh, come on now. I've been here for hours. My money is good, no?
Zemini coin can take a bullet, but the knockoff...
I've now written 9 books in the Grishaverse, so I've had plenty of room to kind of do what I want to do. But the thing is, when you write a book, you close the door on all of these what ifs. Once it's on a page, there's sort of no way to revisit it. And so the chance to see some of these characters interact in a way they never get to interact on the page, the fact that Alina and Inej get to meet, the fact that that General Kerrigan, the Darkling, and Kaz face off in an alley, these are what ifs that I never would have gotten to explore in my books, but that a lot of readers have asked me about over the years. So it was pretty spectacular to actually get to see them play out.
I think, to be honest, that the thing that really made this experience to me were these guys and the rest of our cast. When I was cast, I didn't really know who else was being cast at the time, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to spend 6 months with a bunch of people, and I couldn't have been happier with the people that I met on this show. We spent so much time together. I remember specifically sitting around, we'd all go out for dinner all the time, and I remember one moment just sitting around this table in this restaurant we frequented, just being like, God, I love every single person at this table, and that is no lie. And every single person just was so perfect for their role, so hardworking, and everyone was so supportive. And I've been saying a lot today how playing this in this fantasy world, you can end up doing some things that are really quite silly and ridiculous, and you could probably feel like a bit of a mug doing, but because everyone cared so much and was so passionate, you could do these ridiculous things and be terrified of tennis balls and float bombs around, and you felt so safe because we were all like such a close-knit family. So yeah, I owe so much of this experience to these guys, and for making every scene so much fun.
I can say, the second time I visited set, it was probably 6 months on, and you guys had been out in Budapest for so long with these long days and working together. And I remember sitting on set and suddenly hearing you all singing, like you were just in the green room singing. And I thought, oh my God, either they've joined a cult or they really love each other. So that was...
Why can't it be both?
Casting was a real revelation to me because I'd never been through this before, and I really didn't know what to expect. And what I didn't understand was how instant my connection was going to be to the right actor. I didn't understand that it would really feel like lightning had suddenly struck. And I don't think I understood how lucky I was that lightning kept striking. And really, you don't understand what I'm about to take this analogy further. What a perfect storm it was. But to see all of them together, and I thought, damn, somehow we got this right. Like I really didn't know what to expect. And so casting for me was this experience of revelation where I suddenly saw my characters in a completely new way. You have multiple hurdles with this. And the first is, do you find someone that can embody the performance, they can embody that character in their performance, that they come across as authentic? And it's that lightning strike that Leigh is talking about. And then the next level is what happens when you put them with the other actors? Like, is there a chemistry there? Does it feel like these are people that have gone through war together, or that have done crimes together, or that have formed a really strong friendship with potential for more? And you cross your fingers, you hope, and then you get this group, and my jaw still drops. The first.
Don't let them hear
Yeah,
this.
y'all are great. The first shots I saw were of Ben and Jessie. It was the scene where you guys have ridden the horse, you get off the horse, and you're sort of having your first, like, you know, conversation, just the two of you. And I was like, oh my, the tension, you know, suddenly I was like, you know, it was so extraordinary to be like, this is actually working. Like, I believe this so fully. Even having written essentially that scene, it still took me by surprise.
Oh my God, Leigh, and remember like Jessie's first audition that we saw, like I got to share that with the writer's room, and we got there, and immediately when she went through the scene, we're like, that's Alina Starkov. And then you do a little slate at the end where, you know, the actor tells you your name and some other information. And that was just full Jessie. And then everyone was like, and that's the Sun Summoner, because she was so joyful and there was just effervescence about her. And we were like, we're good. All right. Next one.
What happened back there?
Drusilla. Elite members of the Fjordan military trained to infiltrate deep behind our lines and kill or kidnap Grisha.
I meant how you sliced one of them in half from a dozen paces.
Would you rather I'd used a sword?
I don't know.
I feel like there were so many. I think they were sort of marked for me by my little list of darkling quotes that I had made from the books. I think when I was going through the scripts, and this was true of the scripts and the books actually, whenever I got to a really kind of juicy line or a moment of tension, I find myself just reading out loud to myself, which is always, you know, that's always a mark of something that you have to be involved with. And sort of demarcating, you know, as we went through the series, we would get to those little chapters, and I vividly remember, you know, being excited about playing sort of the most powerful character in this universe in the very first scene, and it says in the book how he whispers the word quiet under his breath, just under, and the room falls silent, and I remember just thinking how thrilling that was to actually get to that moment. And I remember calling Leigh or texting her and saying, I feel like I'm in the book today. I feel like I'm in it, inside of the book. And I've done a lot of adaptations of works of literature and never quite felt like I was bouncing out of the page. And that's how I felt when I met every actor that you can see on the screen and everyone that you can't, how much they just bounced off the pages just suddenly there into my life, and I think that's just like a testament to this, to the world building, and it does come down to the details of the coins, or you know, or a specific line from the book. I love words, and I love the way that Leigh crafts them, and I love the way that Eric crafts them, and it's important to me when you get to a moment about making you the villain. It's not I am the villain. It's not you think I'm the villain. It's you fine, make me the villain. And I think that those differences and those subtleties and those shades and all the different threads, whether it's power dynamics, politics, sexual tension, race, whatever the issue is at hand, it's able to be so delicately threaded into this massive epic about identity and light versus dark and all of that. And I just, it's a privilege to be involved in it. And then you finally, Netflix taps into your account and drops 8 episodes, and you can watch it and you can just beam with pride at everybody that's been involved. From the day players who came in with a few lines and had always read all of the books, which was incredible to me. That was a big thing for me, knowing that people whose characters weren't even in the books would come on having read all of them and being so invested in the dynamics of the world. And I just found the whole thing thrilling.
I do remember getting one of those first texts and turning to my partner and saying, Ben likes the books. It was a very exciting moment. So, yeah.
Answer the question. What are you?
A mapmaker, sir.
Quiet.
I remember my audition scene, and it was her speaking to Kaz about only taking down the bad guys and not the good guys, and how Kaz has, questionable intentions. And I think in that moment for her, she has this wonderful quality of seeing the good in life and seeing the good in people. And I knew that in that moment, Inej knew that it was worth saving this man because he is one of a kind and he really has a difference to make. And especially Ketterdam, Ketterdam needs a Kazbreker, but personally for her with her faith and the cards that she's been dealt with, you know, being forced into an indenture with Tante Helene, it was also just a spur in the moment. And for me, that was my pivotal point from a character's point of view, is that she has committed a sin, sorry. And that was a big shift in her character journey and her arc and who she becomes in this very inspiring, brutal, but kind and loyal, and all the things that I admire and love about her. It was a really beautiful, difficult scene, but it was a monumental one.
Yeah, I think like Amita said, it was a real watershed moment for both characters. I think even though it's Inej who does the killing, it's a huge moment for Kaz, who up until that point has sort of wanted to believe that she could be his right-hand woman. But actually, if she can't kill, she can't do it. And then she does it. And not only does she do it, she does it for him. And so we go back into this incredibly confusing thing for Kaz, which is what is this feeling that I have for her, you know? Because now I know I can fully trust her. Now I know that she would literally kill for me. And I know that I would do the same for her. And it sort of goes into this big pot of emotions that Kaz has absolutely no idea what to do with. And sort of, adds to that confusion. So it's such a pivotal watershed moment for the pair of them. Yeah. But of course they don't talk about it, and sort of it remains under the surface and bubbling away for another day.
We need to go.
I killed him.
Inej, look at me. Look at me. You saved my life. Now get your segment, let's go. In here!
And I just have to say, I remember in episode 8 when you shoot Ivan. Yeah. And I almost missed how many spins you did because it was so fast. Like you managed to do one full one back one, and then another one. And I swear to God, it happened like not even within a second. I was blown away.
Well, they have to be fast because those guns are so heavy.
They're so heavy.
You have to almost throw them away and then catch them again. And so it's a massive risk because each one is they're worth quite a lot of money because they're these custom made works of art. So every time I'm suddenly kind of like, I'm feeling the insurance flip from my hand and then kind of worrying if my paycheck is going to disappear when I have to reimburse production. Well, we were very fortunate that we almost had a month of pre-production before we actually started shooting. So by the time that we actually got on camera, I was okay at it. If you look really closely, you'll see that the tricks in the last couple of episodes are much more impressive than the ones at the beginning. The ones at the beginning, it's like, and it goes forward once, and then the ones at the end of the season are like, you know, kind of far more intricate, and so those ones I'm actually quite proud of. But I think it kind of took me a month to actually get competent at it. But like it's you know it's the most amazing kind of character skill to have, and that 10-year-old within me jumps for joy whenever I get to put on the whole suit and make the hat wonky and put the rings on, and then suddenly I've got these guns and I'm this guy, and that's just, you know, it's a dream come true, really.
I mean, from my perspective, it took Kit as long to master those guns as it takes him to master anything and everything he picks up.
Yeah.
It's very kind.
Infuriatingly fast. Start of the story is very much a a very powerful friendship and bond that they have through growing up at the orphanage together and then being in the army together. Alina looking out for Mal when they were kids, and then it kind of changed a little bit at the beginning of the series. And then obviously they go their separate ways, they get taken away, and a lot happens. And it was quite a taxing series for Mal in terms of what he lost and what he goes through. He sustained quite a few injuries, and then once they're reunited, it's I guess it is kind of a little bit awkward, because it's this thing where like he has realized that he does love his like childhood best friend, and he's not sure if she does, or maybe he was, but he might not want to put it out there in case she's like, you're my friend, you're like my brother, what? Oh, now this friendship is ruined. So I think the ending is that they're obviously immensely happy that they're reunited, but also want to tread carefully.
Yeah, they're so important to each other. I certainly do. I feel like we all have, a friend like Mal or like Alina who you can sit with comfortably in silence, and you just love each other and you respect each other and you lift each other up. And I think they are so important to each other that, like Archie was saying, you don't want to lose that. Imagine if one of them had said, hey, look, I really have these strong romantic feelings.
Whoa! Whoa!
I feel like we've all been there at some point where we feel very strongly for someone and you don't want to ruin what you have. So they're in a really interesting position by the end of the series where their relationship has grown from being these two people who love each other, but they never really say it, and they're excitable and they make jokes together. But then when they reunite, in episode 6, there's a certain gravity suddenly, and they've gone through a lot, and there's a sort of silence to them that speaks to this like connection that they have, and so it'll be exciting to see where they go, and if they ever are able to express these things in a way that isn't awkward or but I love their friendship so much. I think there is definitely not enough. There are so few friendships like Mal and Alina's, especially between a male and female character on screen. So I'm so glad that we were able to bring that.
This has been Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table. Thank you for watching. Season 1 of Shadow and Bone is currently streaming now on Netflix.
Woo! Reason number 4.